Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, So Not a Girl, and once again I'm going to talk more about home buying because you know that looks like it's the hot topic of my channel for a few weeks now. So also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you do go ahead and subscribe and also hit the alert notification so you can be notified whenever I post my next video. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So one of the number one questions that I get either in my comments here on YouTube or in another social media platform, I always get asked how long it took me, how long was my process to buy a home. And that's like something that everybody wants to know about. Well, I'm gonna tell you the big secret. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you how long it really takes. And also I'll go ahead and talk about how to I'm also going to share some tips on how to make the process a little bit faster for you so it can be smoother. And these tips work with if you're going the traditional way to buy a house or if you're applying with NACA, if you're using the NACA program. So it applies for both. If you have watched my previous videos on the NACA and traditional comparison, my testimony, you'll see that for me, the traditional way was a lot longer than the NACA process. So it really just, depends where you go, where you feel happy, that's your choice. So yeah, so the big reveal, how long does it take for the home, how long does the home buying process, take? And the home buying process really takes 2 months. It also takes 6 months. It can take 8 months, a year, 2 years. You get the point. You get where I'm getting at. So there really isn't a specific time. People, it takes 30 days, 45 days. It really doesn't, there really isn't a exact time of how long it takes. It's not like a time frame that's the same for everybody. No. It just really depends on you, on how ready you are when you get qualified. And once again, I'm meaning like the traditional bank way or with the NACA program. Both of them require the same amount of things. The only difference between both of these types of home buying is that with the NACA program, if you do find yourself having a hard time applying due to your credit history, then I would suggest you go through the NACA program. If you have excellent credit score and credit history is not an issue with you, then yeah, buying a home through the traditional bank then might benefit you. But they all these banks require the same things. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you some tips that I used and also that I've seen other people use to to check if you are ready to buy a home. And once again, this goes for both ways, either the NACA program or the traditional bank. So tip number one, you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be a U.S. citizen, a resident here of the United States. I know that a long time ago, people with ITIN could buy a home, but last time that I went, like a few months ago, or not a few months ago, but last time I went to a workshop to volunteer with NACA, they said that due to the government changes and change in presidency and stuff like that, unfortunately people with ITIN are no longer able to buy a home with just an ITIN number. I'm not sure if that's going to change or that already changed now. So I would just suggest to whoever you go to with a realtor or with a NACA program, go ahead and check with them just to verify if those rules have changed or not. Tip number two that any bank is going to ask for, you have to have 2 years of consistent income. A consistent income either through an employer, or if you are a business owner or you're self-employed, you just have to make sure that you're able to prove 2 years of income, and the income to be consistent. It cannot be like ups and downs. It has to be a consistent amount of money for 2 years. Tip number three is your credit score, your credit history. You might have done a lot of things in the past that might have messed up your credit score. If you're the person that has messed up your credit score, just like me, I mean, it happens to everybody. You make some mistakes earlier in your years. The last few years of your credit report show a consistent monthly payments, on-time payments. That's what the banks are looking for. If you're able to make your payments on time, more than likely you're able to make your your mortgage payments on time. Also, if you have things on collections, make sure you settle them. Anything that is worrisome to you in your credit report, go ahead and check it out. Collections, repossessions, late payments, make sure you fix those things before trying to apply either the traditional way or with the NACA program. But like I said, tips, if you are the type of person that is having a hard time, even though you already cleaned up some things in your credit history, and you're still not able to buy a home the traditional way, I really recommend the NACA way. They really help you evaluate your credit history, see what's wrong with it, and what are the things that are affecting you to get qualified. And that's the thing that I really like about the program, that they do that for you, to where the traditional banks don't. They don't discuss anything that's wrong on your credit report or that you need to fix, or something, or things that are preventing you from getting qualified. Tip number 4 is your debt to income ratio. And this is something that is very important. This will determine if you're able to, this will determine if you can get the amount, the loan amount that you're asking for. So a quick example of debt to income ratio, let's say that I go to a traditional bank, and the traditional banks are able to give you 40 to 45% based on your income of, your monthly mortgage payment. Then that's already including your mortgage payment, your taxes, and also your insurance. Banks nowadays are doing all 3 things together in one payment. So for example, if I make $50,000, let's say for example I made $50,000 a year, and let's say 45% of that that's approximately like $4,100 a month. And since the bank will lend me 40 to 45% of my monthly income, let's say for example that is like $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 maybe. So let's say maximum, for example, is $2,000. That's what the bank, according to my income, I can afford. I can afford a home with a monthly payment of $2,000. Of course, it has to include your all the 3 things: your mortgage payment, your insurance, and your property taxes. But let's say that out of those $2,000, I have a car payment of $500. That automatically, those $500 have to be deducted from the $2,000 that the bank approved. Instead of having the allowed $2,000, I have to subtract the $500 from it. So I'm only allowed $1,500 on it. But then let's say that you have about 10 credit cards, and each credit card payment is $50. So that's another $500 that you have to deduct from your allowed monthly payment. So if you have a car loan and the cards, subtract the additional $500, that's $1,000 that you're left with, that you're allowed to for a monthly payment for a house. Getting rid of a lot of your debt in your credit report will allow you to have more money for your monthly payment. So you'll be allowed to buy more, a better house, a bigger house, or maybe the house of your dreams. So that's a brief explanation of debt to income ratio. But like I said, I will go ahead and discuss it a little bit more in a different video. Another thing that I've seen a lot is that a lot of people come to me and say, hey, what if I co-sign for somebody else's home, but I don't live in it? Okay, with the NACA program, you're not able to have a mortgage loan under your name, so automatically you don't qualify for the NACA program. You would have to get your name out of that. If you go apply the traditional way with a bank, you are allowed to buy a home even though you co-sign for somebody else, but just keep in mind that counts as debt to your income. So for just like the previous example, if you were allowed $2,000, then you have to remove the mortgage payment from that house, subtract it from the money that you're allowed, and the remainder would be what you're allowed now to buy a house. I hope that makes sense. And the last tip is have savings in your bank account, because either you go the traditional way or the NACA program. You are going to need some type of savings to either the traditional way requires down payment, requires closing costs. I know that there are some programs that you can go through the traditional way, and there's some programs with each bank that will lower those amounts, but you still need savings. If you're not able to save $500, $600 a month to prove that you're able to make that monthly payment of your mortgage, then are you really ready to buy a house? Just keep that in mind. Like I mentioned before, with the NACA program, you are going to need to pay your inspection of the house depending where you live. You have to get it pre-inspected before you purchase. An inspection is required. It's one of the main one of the important requirements to buying a home through the NACA program. You will also need to pay through the NACA program, you will also need to pay your prepayment of your insurance, of your home insurance. So keep that in mind. It's a 1-year prepayment of your home insurance. You will also need to pay your earnest money, the earnest money for the seller of the house. So those 3 things are the things that you need for the NACA program. Also, keep in mind that with the NACA program, you are able to buy down your interest. So why don't you want to have those savings? If you're going to go through the program process, which a lot of us know that it's a very, very strict program, but so worth it. If you're going to go through it, might as well buy down your interest. Take the opportunity to buy down your interest rate so you can be allowed to buy more of a house. Those are all my tips, guys. And like I said, I know that everybody wants to know how long it took for me to buy my home. I've explained it lots of times before, but I'm gonna explain it again. With a traditional bank, it took me 1 year, and I wasn't even able, and I didn't get anywhere. I didn't even get to a pre-approval letter nor anything like that. With the NACA program, it took me about six months to get qualified, and then it took me 2 months for closing. So in total, about 8 months from the time that I went to the first workshop all the way to when I closed. It was about 8 months. It's different for everybody. It just depends on your situation. It depends how ready you are. It depends how many things you have on your credit history that are not allowing you to buy a home yet. It depends how much money you have saved for your closing costs if you go traditional way, or if you have what it's required to for your inspection, and the little money that is needed for the NACA program. So it really just depends on you. I know that you guys want to know how long it takes. It just depends on each and everybody's circumstance. So that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and find this information useful. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so. It will mean the world to me if you join me in this journey. And also click your alert notification so you can be alerted every time I post a new video. If you know a family member that might need this information, go ahead and share this information. And if you like this content and you want me to keep doing more of this content, give me a like so I can know that I can keep making it and that you guys like it. So once again, thank you very much. See you in the next one.